comfrey. And as you can see here, this is our comfrey plant, also called Symphytum. That's the scientific name, the drug name, Symphytum. I like to call it knit bone, or you could also call it just common comfrey. You can use the leaves, you can use the little flowers here, the little purple flowers. You can use the root. The root is the strongest part of the plant. Traditionally, the history calls a lot of people use the root, which that's really the best way to get to use this plant. But that takes, to get started, you just can't take a portion of this. You have to use the root to get it started. I've never been able to know anybody that just said I planted a seed and got a plant started. You have to get started. This one, you have to use the root to get it started. I've never known anybody to just say, I went and bought me a package of comfrey seeds and got the seeds started, and wow, I got a really pretty plant. No, I don't know how that works. And if you have gotten some seeds and got it started, you have to propagate this plant in order to get it started. So anyway, this is comfrey. It gets to be this is a small baby plant. It will get to be rather large, very big, very big. And once it gets started, then you can take split it in half. You can you can make a poultice out of it, and you can use the leaves, and then you can divide the plant in half and take that part and use it in another area. It's very hard to kill this plant once you get it started. But yes, this is a marvelous plant. It's been around for a couple of thousands of years and is a wonderful, wonderful plant. And we'll talk more about it. But I just wanted you to see a live plant. And it's got beautiful leaves on it. Beautiful green foliage here. These leaves will get much bigger than this. Much bigger than this. This is a small baby plant. And this is comfrey. And these are small. The leaves, it doesn't taste bad. It makes a great tea. Great medicine. Great for the environment. It's great for the ground. Puts great vitamins and minerals in the ground. Okay. Hello everybody. It's Rexanna with Past Present Herbs, and we are going to be talking today about comfrey. And I hope you enjoyed the beginning of this video where we got to see my comfrey plant and the scientific name and the name that it's known for is Symphytum officinale. And Symphytum officinale is a name that you won't hear very often unless you're like probably in a drugstore or you're seeing it. Some pharmacists do like to carry, gone to a pharmacist in the town that I used to live in, and he was getting into herbs. Of course, you would not know any of the herbs. You would think, I don't know what any of this is, but I happen to know the scientific names to some of the herbs. And if it's a pharmacist that's getting into herbs, or if it's somebody that's a very educated herbalist, or not just a folklore herbalist, but they know the scientific names, and they have them in capsules. Sometimes you'll see it on the shelf. and you'll see the scientific name, because they want you to know that this is Symphytum officinale. It's not some mixture. It's not some kind of, they just want you to know. They want you to be educated and understand this is the actual herb. And this is not some, like, there's knockoff brands to some herbs. They're cousins of herbs, and it's not the exact one, but it's just as good. And some people don't want the one that's just as good. They want the actual one. And so that's why I'm saying what I'm saying, because some people, for me, some things like arnica, there's a cousin to arnica, and I'll go ahead and take it because I'm using it for the outside of the body. And but if I was wanting a specific type that's used as an antibiotic, I want the exact one. So you do want to get to know your names, your scientific names, and yeah, so that's kind of why I'm saying what I'm saying. And I always say that because we're so used to saying comfrey and nettle. Nettle's another one. Well, what kind of nettle are you talking about, you know? So it's really good to know the scientific names. Sometimes I have a hard time saying them, but I know by looking in the writing what it is. So anyway, without further ado, we'll go on. And that's just a little educational part. And it's also called the drug name, because some people will say that's the drug name. But anyway, it's part of the borage family. And excuse me, I feel like I have something in my throat, but I don't have a sore throat. I may have something coming on. It's allergy season, so I don't know. Just excuse me. Okay, I'm going to be doing some looking down and reading, because I have an excellent book that I'm reading out of, and I'll show you the book here in just a minute. But it is some history on comfrey. And comfrey, I'll be just telling you some common names. We went over the scientific name. Now we're going to be going over some common names, because this herb has been around for years, and I mean like thousands of years, hundreds of years. They used to call it knit bone, just regular comfrey, the healing herb. They just knew it for many years. You know, that healing herb, you know, that healing herb you've got, that wonderful, you know, healing herb. They used to call it bruisewort, because it used to take care of all the bruises, you know. Blackwort, wallwort, gum plant, black root, slippery root, knit bone, because it knits the bones together after they've been broken. They used to call it, I don't know this particular one, but Yulka, which is a German word, calls Walda, and something in Spanish from Spain, Symphytum, I don't know that exactly, but they have all these different words from other countries and from Greece and from Greek. They used it in Roman times. It was I'm going to just tell you a few things. Around 400 BC is how far back I could see that they've been using this herb. They used it in Greece. The earliest that I could see made remedies from the root. A Greek historian recorded they used it for bronchitis and for healing of wounds. They also used it to drink tea to help with respiratory and bronchitis, and for gastrointestinal gastro problems. And through this, Romans used it for healing wounds and to help with their stomach problems as well. through the 1600s, religious men drank it on an empty stomach, the tea, and prayed and made a paste out of it for healing cuts and wounds from their battles. I'm sure they did it for the men. Other men, the religious men, didn't go to battle, but I don't know. It could have been them too. There is a lot of study done on this herb because it is so controversial, and they have found that there's iron in the root, and so they know that it does help you have a stronger, it helps the person have a stronger constitution, and it helps bring up the immune system. Because a lot of people back then, I found out that, you know, in Ireland during the potato famine, that they would give people comfrey, and it saved many people's lives until they made it to America. Because of the potato famine, a lot of people were famished. You know, they had poor nutrition, and so a lot of people drinking comfrey actually helped them. And I know that there's a lot of people that say, you know, it's not good to drink comfrey. Well, it saved some people's lives, and that's why it was very popular at one point in time, because when you're not having any nutrition and you're not drinking anything or eating anything, they used to put comfrey in soups and stews and use it to boost up the nutrition level, and that gave many people a lot of nutrition, because there is a lot of minerals in I'm sure they didn't put tons of it. I'm sure they had very little of it, because they had very little of everything back then. So it boosted their immune system and helped them to get back on their feet. It also boosts the liver and the kidney function. There is some not so good. It's an anti-inflammatory. It's an antifungal. I'll go over all that in just a minute. But it can be used with other herbs to help boost up the person. So I will go over. That's just some of the things that I wrote down from like way back that I thought was very, very, I mean, I just thought, wow, you know, people have been using it for hundreds and hundreds of years. Thousands of years even, because they just, they didn't even think, you know, they didn't have the internet, they didn't have newspapers, they didn't have any of that stuff. They didn't have people, these healers, what they were called back then, used this. They didn't have a lot of herbs like we do now. I mean, they had used what they had on hand, and they saw it as a healing opportunity, and they didn't think in their mind this was going to do damage. When they did start doing research on it, they probably started cutting back and not using as much of it. They didn't use a lot of stuff the way we do now. They had very little of everything. So I'm sure they used very little. And when people would go in to minister healing, they did so in such a different fashion that we do now anyway. So once you started feeling better, you didn't have need of all this stuff anyway. So we do stuff as a preventative measure, and because we are afraid of getting sick, and we take so many over-the-counter drugs here in America to where it harms our body. So I'm thinking in my mind, this is a lot different situation. Our world is today as it was not back then. So I'm thinking, you know, they did it and you got better, so much faster, and because of, like, I'm thinking of the potato famine. And if you don't know about the potato famine, I urge you to go back and research what happened in Ireland and how those people were devastated. It was quite awful. That's why so many Irish people immigrated over here, because of the fact that they did not have, and it was terrible. It was terrible. But anyway, back to Comfrey. Okay, let's go over some of the characteristics. If you think back at the beginning of this video, and you see that you can use the stems, you could use the flowers, it says the root. It says the most potent, and the book that I'm going to be reading out of is one of my favorite books. Is Dr. Christopher's. This is John R. Christopher, and he is a wonderful, well, he's a doctor. He is a naturopath. I always get his, he is a herbal teacher and a naturopath practitioner. He's a teacher. He's no longer with us, but this, there's a school of natural healing. This is all done through his son and his family. You can go online and get information. You can even go on Facebook and put in the School of Natural Healing, and you can go to his school even. Of course, you have to pay, but I did not go to his school. I just went to another school to get my certification in herbalism. But I have a great friend, Nita Moshe, and she told me early on to get this book. And this is like going to school all over again, because you get the history, you get all the stuff that they did a long time ago. This is an absolute wonderful book. But Comfrey in here, you get to know all about what they used to do, what they do now, and it is just an awesome book. Anyway, yeah, he even says in here the strongest part is from the root. And so you don't really want to use the root for medicine, because that's where you'll get messed up in your liver. So I'll just read to you briefly. He said the toxic alkaloid, which is according to modern use, may cause the liver damage if taken in large amounts. And so more of that, you just want to leave it out, because you may have liver damage, or you may have a fatty liver, or you may have something going on around that area of your body. So why even risk it? Just don't do it. Just leave it out. So he says in here, Comfrey is one of the finest healers for the respiratory system, and also is really great because he says hemorrhaging of the lungs, it saved thousands and thousands of lives in his practice, in his day. And all the other accounts that I've read, and all the other people that I know of, it saved thousands and thousands of people. He says that the young leaves are the best, because they don't have that high amount of the alkaloids in it. And he said if you get the really big leaves, like, I'm just going to show you real quick. This is a young leaf of mullein. And those leaves, if you look at the plant, there's some really young ones. If you look, they can get really, really big. Like, this is mullein, and I mean, this one was a really big leaf, because if you look, well, that's not really good. I got a whole pan of mullein over here. This was a really big leaf. I cut it too. It was really about big out to here. I would not probably use a big leaf like this if it was, we'll just call this, this was Comfrey. I wouldn't use a really big leaf like this, because Comfrey can get pretty big. Comfrey can get really big, because you have a stronger amount of medicine in that leaf. Now, if you use a really small leaf, say a small leaf like this, it's kind of small, this probably wouldn't have a lot of medicine. And the younger the leaf is what he's talking about, the better. Young, meaning it's not had a chance to fully develop and grow, okay? And I have a young plant out there. So he's saying use the young plant, the ones that are small and haven't had a chance to really grow and get a lot of medicine in them. I would use the ones that are inside, the closest ones that haven't had a chance to really grow. I'd nip those off. Now I have a big old huge container here of comfrey, and I use this because I've had it. I use this to make my salves, but for internal use, I might use something that's fresh that you can tell, you can judge. I don't know. I didn't pick these leaves, and so I would know. I would know what's really in there. I bought that off of online, so I would just kind of, you know, it's better to go out and get your own comfrey, and that way you can judge. That personally, that's coming from Rexanna. But I mean, if you want to just take like a little teaspoon, put it in a cup, you would have to talk to somebody who's knows your history and knows more about you. I would work with a professional before I made that decision on my own personally, because who knows your body than your doctor or your and I'm talking about an herbalist or a practitioner that is working with herbs. So anyway, the most beneficial part also is, you know, you have in this book, the reason I really love this book too is because it gives you all kinds of formulas. Because if you look in this book, it talks about the mucilage of comfrey, and you don't need but just small amounts, like, and you mix it with there's a lung tonic, there's a nerve cough syrup tonic, and it's talking about just small amounts in each one of this. It even helps with asthma, bronchitis, tuberculosis, and consumption. And you mix it with things like garlic. You mix it with things that are different herbs. I'll just tell you one of the really good ones that I thought was just really good, and it's a lung tonic. And we won't go over the amounts, but we'll just go over the different herbs. This lung tonic has comfrey. It also has horehound, elecampane, ground ivy, ginger root, cayenne pepper, nutmeg, and yellow D sugar, which I don't know what yellow D sugar is, but it says or honey. So you can put sugar or honey in it. I'm sure it's just some kind of honey that they had. And so anyway, it talks also in the preparation, the way that you do it, which you have explicit instructions down here. And then all different types of other cough syrup, bronchitis. I even have the book, the area here where I guess I used one of these for asthma. I know I used the one for asthma because and bronchitis, and I have it tagged. But all these, there's a burn paste for lobelia, comfrey, honey. All kinds of different things in here for springs, for swelling, how to go about using it for a paste, and for, you know, all these different poultices that you can use. He's even got in here that you can mix it with burdock root and use it for ulcers, even syphilis. Wow, they treated syphilis with this. And it just goes on and on and on. And then it goes, the next herb is mullein. So it just goes to tell you that this is a really good chapter. It's in chapter 9, I believe it is. And it's just a great herb. I mean, it just goes on and on and on. I know this video is kind of getting long, So if you would like and subscribe and share this video. I know I don't really probably want to, at this time, I want to include all the pregnant moms and just put a warning out, because if you're pregnant or if you've just had a baby, your body chemistry is so different. So I do want to put a caution and a warning out. Don't try to drink this tea. This is an herb that, like, there needs to be a big warning. If you're pregnant, if you're nursing, or any type of thing like that, please don't try to drink this herb. And please always check with your physician. And yeah, if you have any kind of like asthma, like me, I have asthma, you always want to be careful and double check, because you may have some kind of gastro problem. I've always had to struggle with a gastro problem. I've always had a little bit of something going on. Those two kind of sometimes link together. So I'm always having to check and make sure. I don't just rush into anything. And I just kind of want to put a warning out there to people to say, oh, you know, Rexanna had this great video and blah, blah, blah. Well, I'm an herbalist, true enough. But I'm always checking with my doctor, and I do go see a natural doctor, and I do see another doctor that is up to date on all the herbs. But you know, they do things by a certain scale, and they're very careful in what they do. And they may say to me, you know, now's not really a good time to do that. You know, it depends on your lab work. It depends on a lot of different variations of what's going on in your body at that time. And at any given time, sometimes your body can change depending on age, depending on just whatever's going on. And especially a female's body changes so rapidly. And so I just want to put a word of caution. We can sit here and talk about all this and think about, oh, that's a great book, and I think I'm going to run out and get it, because I think that's going to be the cure-all for my problems. But it don't always work that way. But these are some things that we can talk about here, and you can discuss with somebody else. And always be sure to contact your local herbalist, your local practitioner. You know, this book here, John Christopher, is a great herbal reference guide. And yes, get it and read about it, because what I've done is I have helped myself. And I've also consulted with other people, and it's been a great, I'm using the plant to help my gardening, and I'm also using it to help myself. But always consult with somebody else before you make a big decision like this. This is an herb that is a great herb. They've been using it for years, but always consult somebody else, okay? And I think this has been a great video. But let me know what you think, and leave me a comment and tell me your experiences with comfrey. And yeah, let me know if you've used it as a salve. I think I'm going to get ready and put it in a salve and make some healing salves. And you know, just let me know what your experiences is, and if you like the video. And that's going to be it for today. And you guys, I'll see you in the next video. Bye for now.